Hi everyone, it's Tawanda from Little Nzo, and in today's tutorial I'll show you how to make a menu card that looks like this one here. So to get started, I'm going to go to File, New. For this particular tutorial I'll be using the A4 default template. Click on Advanced, and as always I like to start all my tutorials with a transparent background. Click OK on that. So I'm gonna try my best to recreate exactly this same menu card here. So before we begin, I think it's really important that I emphasize this. I'm using an A4 document as a template. Now what we will have is, on this image for example, one half will be the front cover or the top cover of the menu card, and then the other half will be the back. So this half to your right is the top cover, such that when you fold it, this will be the top and this will be the bottom. So in this tutorial we're only going to focus on making this part and that part. In part 2, that's when we're going to be working on the inside, which is page 2 and page 3. So for now we'll be working on page 1 and page 4. So heading over to our new document, just undo that, File, New. Select the A4 default template and make sure that it's landscape, and then I'll select the transparent background and click OK. Now we're going to go to Image, Guides, New Guide by Percentage. The first guide I need to work with is a vertical guide at 50%. Click OK. Right, now let's create a new layer. Click OK. We can rename that to BG2. Press enter. Select black. Then select the bucket tool and fill that in with black. Now let's create another layer, or rather let's leave it like that for now. Okay. So we're going to start by making this right half here. So to do that, so let's just minimize those. Okay, to do that, I will click and drag this image here. So that image will be our top cover image, right? Just gonna click and drag that and position it here. Select the scale tool, click and adjust the size. That should be fine. I'll click scale. Of course, on this part you can use whatever image you want to put on your cover or the cover of your menu. In my case, I'm going for the burger and the image of the burger. Then I'm going to click and drag this gradient I'd made prior. The only reason why I'm using that is because this image, after scaling it, left a small section here that was still black, but you can always adjust that however you see fit. So I'm just going to move that like that and have it like that. Of course you can make further adjustments, but for the purpose of this tutorial I will leave it like that. Then the next step is to add the logo. So I made the logo for the purpose of this particular tutorial. I'm just going to click and drag that and insert it there. Okay, let's position that, and then let's scale that. Again, on this part you can go ahead and put whatever logo you have for your business or your restaurant or your cafe or whatever it is you're making the menu for, the menu card. Alright, now to finish off that layer, we now need to put this here. Okay, so we can go ahead and create a new layer. You can go ahead and rename that. I'll just leave it as menu title. Oh, that says title. Okay, now I'm going to click and drag guides that I'm going to use to create that shape or that ribbon right at the bottom right hand corner there. Put one there, put another one there, then oops, Alright, let's bring that here. There should be fine. And then we're going to select the pen tool. Zoom in a bit on that if need be. So we're going to click, add the first point there, second one here. Okay, we should have added another guide over here, roughly around there. Okay, so that's first, second point, third point, fourth, fifth, and then command or control, and then you close that up. Right click, press enter to make the selection. Select the bucket tool, fill that in with black. That. Then command or control shift A. Zoom out on that, and then we can remove the guide since we're not gonna be using those anymore. Right, now we're gonna zoom back in. And then we're gonna add a text right at the top there. Let's just type that in. Let's say menu. It should be fine. So what I'll do next is right click on that layer and then merge it down. And then select the select by color tool, zoom back in and select that, all of that. And then press delete on the keyboard. The reason why I've done that is I want the gradient in the background to be the same as the one here. And before I forget, another critical thing about designing in Gimp, I usually forget to mention this, is that in Gimp we design in RGB color mode, which means that when you try to print this, it will not come out as is on this design. It will be different, it will be much darker. So in cases where you want your document, if you are designing something for printing, you have to make sure that it's converted to CMYK. But that's a discussion for another tutorial. Okay, so now that we've done this, you can leave it like that, but in my case, I want that to have this pattern here. So I can't remember where I got this brush from, but I'm using this brush over here. I'm just going to reduce the size of that. Let's put it at, let's say 190, see how it looks like. Okay, then I'm just going to click on that. Have it look like that. Alright, let's go back to the image we're going to be following. Okay, so now it's time to design the second half of the document. Remember, I mentioned that this is the top copy or the top cover, which is page number 1 when folded, and this will be page number 4 when folded, because that's the top, that's the bottom, and inside will be page 2 and page 3. So now we need to work on this section here. So let's go back to the image. First thing I'm going to do is go back to that burger, to this gradient shape I have here. And I'm going to select the rectangle tool, click and drag, like so. Make sure it's from here to the halfway mark. And then I'm going to press delete on the keyboard, because I need this part to be showing. Command Shift A or Control Shift A. And then I'm going to grab this image here of the beverages. Now I have to make sure that this image, let me just drag it below here, it's going to be right above the BG2 image over here. Click and drag, position it here, and then select the scale tool and then adjust that and make sure that it's up to the halfway mark, midpoint on scale. Now I can leave it like this, but it leaves me less space to add my details and anything else I want to add. So what I can do is I can drag the guide here. Let's just see here. Yeah. Okay. You just adjust that guide, leave it somewhere there. And then with that layer still selected here, I'm going to select the path tool, add 1 point there, and then Command or Control and close that. And then I'm going to drag that outwards to create a curve. Once the curve you've created is to your liking, go ahead and press Enter on the keyboard. Right click, select, invert, and press Delete. Command or Control Shift A to deselect. Now we have that curve over there. And then the next, see that you can add your text next, or if you don't like a plain black background, we can always add another image right there. So I will take this one here of the milkshakes, click and drag, and drop it onto the canvas. Position it there. Select the scale tool and adjust that. Make sure it's up to the halfway mark. Hit scale. And then drag the layer beneath the one with the cola. And then I've reduced the transparency or the opacity. I'll leave that at, let's see how 15% looks like. Okay. That should be fine. But for now, we can remove the visibility on that layer and leave it like that. Okay, so the next step, I'll be adding the text here. Select the text tool and then click. And the first section we're going to add is for milkshakes. Rather, no. Let's have the beverages heading as the first. Just bring that to the top there. And then move that layer and make sure that it's above the beverages. Zoom in a bit. If you're okay with the size, you can leave it like that. So here it's black with a yellow outline. So I'm going to change the font color to black. And then with the text still selected, right click and then select the path from text option. Click on that. Create a new layer. Click OK. We can rename that as text outline. Press enter. And then go back to that text over there with the new layer selected. Right click, select from path, because we've already created a path from the text. Right click, select, grow. And then let's change that from millimeters to pixels. If yours is in pixels, it's still okay. No need to change that. Click OK. If the size is okay with you, I'm going to be using 10 pixels. Select the bucket tool and then fill that in. Command or Control Shift A. And then now I'm going to bring back the text on top of that, like that. Now we zoom out just a little bit. And then now we're going to add these sections here. Milkshakes, juices and sodas and other. So I'm going to click on that. And then type in milkshakes. Now this is up to you, depending on the beverages you're going to be selling. You can have it as milkshakes, you can have it as hot beverages, cold beverages, alcoholic beverages. You can use different titles depending on the products you're selling or you're providing. I'm just going to change that color to white. And then reduce the font size to 75. And then reposition that. It should be fine. And then I'm just going to duplicate that layer twice. Duplicate the first time. Oops, select the wrong layer. Duplicate that the first time, put it here. Right click. Duplicate it the second time and place it here. Select your text tool. I'll change that to juices. and then juices, sodas. And then I'll change this one to others. Okay. And then now with the text tool still selected, I'm just gonna click and drag to form a text box. And it's within this text box that I'm gonna add the various descriptions of the products and services that I'll be, well, ideally, that I'll be selling or providing to people. So for example, I can go with bubblegum milkshake. There's bubblegum flavor. Double click. Let's adjust the size to 40. Press enter. Maybe you can leave it as that color. I want to have it as white. And then we're going to have these little dots here. And then put the price. Maybe peg it at $1.50. Then if you want, you can always change the font of the description and the price. I'll leave that shade of yellow there. So basically that's it. You can go ahead and then add the products or services that you're going to be providing or selling. But in my case, I'll just fast forward that and click and drag what I'd already done over here. Okay, so in my case, I just duplicated the text. I didn't really, add specific descriptions because this is, well, in my case, completely make-believe. But in your case, if you're designing it for a client and you're designing it for yourself, you can always go ahead and put the actual products you're going to be selling or you're actually selling. And there's descriptions here and the prices you're going to be selling them at. Once that's done, you can go ahead and then add visibility onto that. Just make sure that it's still visible. So if you feel that the background is too bright for the text you've added at the top, you can always change the transparency. In this case, we can have it at 10, and then the text at the top there really pops up. And then in my case now, I had to go on and add these images here just to use up this space. But if you have products that are going to be going all the way from the top to the bottom, you can leave that. It's still fine. But if you want to see how I did that, I can always show you. So I'm just going to select the image. The first one is this one here. Click and drag. So I'm just going to move that right at the bottom, or right at the top there. Then right click on that layer. Make sure I add the alpha channel so that when I delete the background or when I create my shape, it will be transparent. So we're going to go to this shape tool and then select the ellipse tool. Click, press shift and drag. Once you're happy with the circle, right click, select, invert, and then press delete on the keyboard. Command or Control Shift A. Select the scale tool and then reduce the size. And while positioning that if possible. So I will have it here. Press scale. And then I'll click and drag the other one, which would be this one here. Click and drag. Right click on the layer, add alpha channel. Select the ellipse tool. Click, press shift and drag. Right click, select, invert, press delete. Command or Control Shift A, and then scale that down. press scale once you're happy with that. And then we can still go ahead and position that. So here you can always go ahead and add a tagline or more products or whatever it is you want to be selling. And then also on the front cover, you're also not limited to just leaving it like this. You can always add more things that you want to put there. So yeah, basically that's how you design the outer part of the menu card. That's if you fold it in half. So that's how you design an A4 or rather an A5 sized menu card. Let me know in the comment section below if you need help or assistance with anything else. But as always, if you like this tutorial, if you find it useful or helpful, don't forget to like, don't forget to share with your friends and your peers, and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you guys for watching.